rated M for mature.
Empire Bay is the city that the game takes place in. It's based on mostly New York with a couple of other little cities mixed in there in the 1940s and 1950s. And this is the world that Vito and the player explores. One of the goals when we started really developing the characters was that we wanted these to feel like real people. They weren't just going to be stereotypes.
We detail out who our characters are, what we think they would sound like, and then we sort of go out and choose the sound of our actors. We maybe test like 120, 150 different actors.
Mostly guys who grew up in New York or lived in New York for a set amount of time. You kind of have to know the lingo. It's its own language. You can't really imitate it or you end up sounding like, you know, Fat Tony on The Simpsons.
One of the decisions we took real early on in the project was to not use famous actors. We really have a problem with the fact that you can't relate to that as the player character so much.
It's, oh, that's so-and-so, that's not the character. You know, he's voicing the character, but I'm thinking about the actor, not thinking about the character on the screen.
How about you get back in your cute little car with your little friends there and I'll pretend I never seen you. Sound good?
Something we did for Mafia 2 that a lot of games don't do is that we brought all the actors together and we did 5 or 6 guys at a time on an ADR stage actually playing off one another.
Having these guys just banter with one another, you really get that higher level of performance that we really needed and really wanted to achieve with Mafia.
As well as making the characters sound genuine, we also had to make them act like real mobsters, and we were able to do this with motion capture.
Máme k dispozici motion.
We bought our very own mocap studio for Mafia 2 so that we could capture or tweak any animation whenever we needed to. The challenging part, however, was to get all these movements and combinations to run within the memory limitations of a console and still have a fun playable game. Another thing that we insisted on with the mocap sessions was that the actors used real weapons as props. Real weapons equals realistic animations. So we ordered real firearms such as the classic Tommy gun, the MG42 and various pistols, and you can really see that in the movement of the characters.
Something else that makes the world really feel alive is the radio. For a great deal of time in the game, you're going to be in the car, so we have multiple radio stations in the game. Each has its own DJ.
To je na tomto zajímavé, že
We worked really hard on the DJ scripts to get them just right and to set the scene for the 1940s and 1950s. The DJs talk about period news and world events such as World War II, and they perform charming old-fashioned style commercials. The DJs really help to create an authentic atmosphere.
And they all play different type of music, and I think we spent about 4 years working on the soundtrack at this point.
Empire Bay's news hub.
vedle hudby v rádiu.
Besides the music on the radio, Mafia 2 also uses a lot of cinematic score that we composed here in the 2K Czech studio. The game contains many Hollywood-like elements, so we naturally needed music to support this.
V podstate sa skomponovalo viac ako 180 minút hudby.
In total, we composed over 3 hours of original music using electronic samples and computer programs. But we knew that to convey the right emotions, we needed to re-record it with live musicians.
Even though we're dealing with guys that maybe have got, like, you know, involved in shady kind of deals and whatever else, we still see the human side of them. The feeling of engagement with the characters in Mafia is, you know, is really second to none.